So just the other day, I was talking about how it was exposed that the New York Times used a Japanese consultant that was a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee. Well, the Park Place, good old Park Place, and Smash JT, shout outs to them, have exposed Hashimoto, the former Sweet Baby Inc. employee, as essentially saying that developers do not want to work with him. That after he's been a part of Sweet Baby Inc., he's kind of had a taint on him, like a problem, a stigma. And that's what it really comes down to, guys, is that these companies, these video game developers, these studios, they know Sweet Baby Inc. is a bad thing, but they're pressured into it. They're nearly extorted into it. They're blackmailed by Sweet Baby Inc. and other consulting companies. They're literally like, hey, if you don't make your game politically correct, we're going to control the narrative and sling you through the mud and get our Kotaku buddies and IGN buddies to say bad things about you. And they tried to do it to Game Science. It didn't work. They said, fuck you, and they made Black Myth Wukong, and it broke records. It caused a Streisand effect. Well, Hashimoto was exposed in that New York Times article as being a former employee of Sweet Baby Inc. He wrote a ridiculous article in the past about Animal Crossing and Japanese colonialism. He also wrote a fucking weird thing about being gay in Dragon Age 2, or I forget what it was. It's just, this guy's a lunatic. This guy is absolutely absurd, and I'm not surprised that nobody wants to work with him. Now, looking at this article, it says that there was actually a podcast that he revealed a lot of this juicy details in, but just to touch you in the New York Times article, as the Japanese researcher, he said that it was people in the West that were mostly upset about seeing Yusuke as the legendary black samurai in the game, basically trying to make it a white people are racist type of thing, a right-wing grifters are racist type of thing, saying that the people of Japan don't have any issue with it, and that many of the negative online comments were written in Japanese, were roughly translated from English, that it was a whole bunch of like white straight male gamers that are anti-woke upset about it, because guess what, if we go against their narrative, we're automatically a bigot. So he was basically running damage control, attacking gamers, right? Especially Japanese gamers that are upset with this game. We've been covering all this action for quite some time. It's definitely coming to a head. Now, this is in a recent Twitch stream discovered by Smash JT. Shoutouts to him. Hashimoto provided more details, saying a couple months ago, the New York Times actually got in touch with me to ask me about Assassin's Creed, in which I was like, yeah, reception's honestly like kind of positive, and a lot of the comments you'd see under videos were straight up Google Translate comments. So he's basically saying that they were all fake. It's almost like the whole thing with the Space Marine 2 situation, where a Kotaku journalist is saying that that wasn't the CEO of the company that made Space Marine 2. They're trying to downplay just how much people hate DEI being injected in game. And basically, he's saying that all these people are full of it. And he goes on to say that he didn't do any consultation work on Assassin's Creed. The stuff that they did with Sweet Baby Inc. will probably never be able to talk about, just because the way that game development works. He says that he has a feeling that he's going to get blamed for changes in decisions made on a game that they worked on that weren't even like stuff that they knew about or were aware about or even a part of. That as a consultant, you kind of give them suggestions, you tell them some advice, and it's up to the director or producer to decide whether to do it. So he's downplaying what Sweet Baby Inc. actually does. We all know they go in, they have a checkbox, they force these changes. They literally said, let's scare these people, and if we don't get what we want, let's go to the marketing team and scare them till we get what we want, right? He tries to say people don't understand how much a power a producer or a director have in a studio, and whether or not they will facilitate those changes. So he's already kind of, I guess, damage controlling any kind of influence that Hashimoto himself might have had on Assassin's Creed Shadows, which, if he was a consultant, guarantee you there was more than just him on there. He's not taking account for other consultants that might have been in the game, especially when you look at Ubisoft as a whole. Some of the employees are in there. You got some of the developers, some of the artists, some of the art directors, some of the community managers themselves. This company's full of woke DEI spreading people, guys. So he continues to say that developers did not want to hire him, given that he was a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee. I don't blame them, but he says there's definitely jobs I had where like people have seen like the fact that I worked for Sweet Baby, and it's been a year since I worked with them, and it's just like a contractual basis when I was so just like periodically for like a couple of years. People literally be like, "Hey, are we going to get harassed for hiring you?" And I think that really sucks. That instead of like we'll protect our employee, the employer or the potential person giving you the contract will be more concerned about that than protecting their employees. Kind of fucked up. So he's playing a victim complex, saying, "Oh, you know, the developers don't care about protecting the Sweet Baby Inc. guys or the consultants or any of this, you know, this victim blaming stuff. Maybe you shouldn't push your ideologies. Maybe you shouldn't have people like Thomas Lockley being a historical source for Yasuke. Maybe you shouldn't focus on woke ideologies and woke narratives. Maybe you should focus on making some good video games, and maybe people won't be like, oh, that guy used to work for Sweet Baby Inc. If we hire him, if we put their logo in the credits, they're going to get harassed." To be honest, yeah, there is a little bit of extent of some people that go above and beyond. They'll dox, they'll target, they'll threaten, they'll do death threats. I'm not about that, but I'm 110% not going to sit here and be like, hey, I can't talk critical about Sweet Baby Inc. I can't give criticism about this development studio. I can't talk about this game and its staff. That's the problem, is a lot of these people that are involved, they're activists, but they don't want to hear both sides of the equation. And when they do, they're under attack. They're victims. They block, they hide, they put protected tweets. If I did that for everybody that ever gave me backlash on anything that I did, I would have nobody engaging in anything that I do. It's so weird to see that most of the people like on Smash's Kotaku Detected, they're so thin-skinned to where they can't even hear an opposing side of an argument. They want an echo chamber. They don't want anybody that is against their narrative, because then they're racist, they're a bigot, they're homophobic, they're everything. They're not part of this modern audience that they're catering to. So I'm not surprised that companies didn't want to hire somebody that has the stench of Sweet Baby Inc., especially after this year when you've seen Sweet Baby Inc. after Sweet Baby Inc. loss. Like literally every single game they touch this year so far has failed. And any game that has DEI injected in it, whether it's Dustborn, Concord, Suicide Squad, you name it, I'm shuddering to think what Wolverine's going to have. Sure, Spider-Man 2 did good and it had Sweet Baby Inc. in it, but that's Spider-Man. That's a franchise that's going to sell even if a fucking indie studio made it. But Sweet Baby Inc. carries a lot of negative connotation to it. So a lot of these people, of course, they're going to have trouble being hired, especially when you have people like Alyssa Mercante writing hit pieces against gamers. When you see the New York Times literally using you as a researcher or an expert. This guy Hashimoto was literally in this New York Times article attacking gamers, calling them racist because they had problems with Yasuke. He's literally attacking gamers, and he's wondering why studios don't want to hire him. It's not rocket science, guys. I don't know why these guys act so fucking surprised when the backlash gets back at them. It's almost like they are self-aware to like a zero. They have no self-awareness. They're like, oh, why am I being targeted? Why am I? Because a lot of them run their mouths about you. You look at old tweets, you see old articles, you see old fucking. It's basically propaganda. You see bullshit that they've written, and it's all like anti-gamer. It's all anti-male. It's like you're going to piss people off if you're spitting venom, if you're spitting vitriol. So of course nobody's going to want to work with you publicly. And Kim Belair herself or themselves, whatever the fuck they identify as, is no fucking innocent angel either, or Chris Kindred, or anybody involved with Sweet Baby Inc. They've shown time and time and time again that these people are all snakes that are focused on everything but actually making good games. Actually making games that are entertaining, fun to enjoy, fun experiences. No, they want to control narratives. They want to control everything that we consume. They want to inject their ideologies and force them upon us into an echo chamber. And if we go against it, we're bigots. We're racist, like I said. We're a problem. They literally say stuff like gamers have to be eliminated from the gaming industry. They have to be terminated. Grum shouldn't know peace in his life ever. Like, we have all these psychos that contact wives. They dox, they threaten. These people are unsafe, guys. They are fucking out there. They're whack. And that's why I do what I do. It's not a grift, all right? This is literally me having a passion for something that I want to be good for everybody as a whole. Not, oh, that side is the one that controls it. There should be opposing arguments from every side. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. What do you guys think about this guy playing the woe is me, nobody wants to hire me whole act? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you're brand new. I'll see you on the next one.